All right, y'all. Welcome back. Today I have with me Jeff from Eat and Grow Systems. How you doing, Jeff?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I am doing awesome. Welcome back to the channel. And I wanted to have Jeff on to talk about the state of our food system. We're going to be discussing a couple of topics. And I guess what we could do, Jeff, is we could jump right into the first article. And let me see here. I'm going to throw it up on the screen.
Oh yeah.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture, that's the U.S. is looking the other way on the use of the Mr. Nah genetic modification in meat production categorized as organic, according to an agribusiness watchdog group. Organic Eye demanded on Sunday the U.S. hold public hearings on the use of Mr. Nah and other genetically engineered things on organic products or face legal action. So, what the USDA is doing is turning a blind eye to their entire bogus label with this entire Jeff, I think you referred to it as the organic mafia. It's just a pay to play, and if you pay them enough, they'll completely ignore it, which makes it very frustrating when they harass like organic Amish farmers like Amos Miller and like this other fella in Virginia. They're willing to harass these guys, right? But then they'll let them do absolutely whatever to everything else. It's so incredibly frustrating. But the point of our conversation is our food system is absolutely under a systemic attack, a controlled demolition. But what say you, Jeff?
Yeah, no, definitely key words there that I absolutely agree with. Controlled demolition, attack, totally there. When I saw this article, I got angry. A lot of stuff getting angry out there, but then I controlled that anger and I was just thinking through it. And yeah, the organic mafia, as I call it, when my wife and I were doing the habitat that we did on the Real Martian channel, we were selling microgreens out of there and we were pushing towards, we thought the right thing, which was
Organic.
that move
Yep.
to organic, right?
Yep.
And then you get into it and you realize, things start with a good reason, but what they're kind of doing over time is because of greed and sin, I would say they kind of all just turned bad. And the
Mm-hmm.
USDA started off with a good intent, although it was backwards, and I'll come back to that. And so we start going through the process of getting organic certification. And for a small farmer under $1 million of revenue, it was going to cost us $60,000 to get our certification, to go through all the testing, to pay all the companies, and then to keep it
Mm-hmm.
up every year. You have to go back through probably a lower price one. I mean, once we got to 60K, it was like it was over. And so then that made me start studying a little bit more. I'm like, well, what's going into this? You see this organic label everywhere, and people are like, I won't buy it unless it's organic, and all
Right.
this.
Yep.
And so then you dig into it and you realize that the labeling system is completely backwards, right? The people who grow food naturally in the ground using natural methods, they have to prove that they did natural methods. But as you alluded to earlier, the folks, the large scale farms, usually it's the large scale farms that have money,
Mm-hmm.
that can pay lobbyists. They can put whatever onto the food, whatever onto the crop. They
Yeah.
can use
Just have
human
to pay
waste.
enough. Yeah.
Yep, they can use GMO crops, they can use whatever, and they don't have to do anything for labeling.
Nope.
The onus is on people to prove that it's clean rather than to prove that it's safe, right?
Yeah.
And so that's
Yeah.
where the mafia, it's a shakedown. It's a shakedown on the small farmers meant, probably if we dig into it far enough, we'll find that a large farmer somewhere came up with it. And I shouldn't say large farmer, some bureaucrat somewhere who supports a
Mm-hmm.
lobbyist
Right.
organization probably came up with it. And the farmers are just having to pay to play.
Yeah.
And so when I saw this article and I'm thinking, my goodness, you know what? Regardless of what you think about Mr. Na, uh, it's too controversial to even be moving forward with until we fully understand the pathways in the bodies. I mean, what were we told? Well, it's going to stay isolated, right? It's only going to be right here. It's not going to move to
Yep.
the rest of the body. Well, it
Yeah.
moved to the rest of the body. Well, it's not going to
Yeah.
have any impact on DNA. Well, it does.
Yeah.
It's there's it's not causing inflammation of the heart. Well, it does.
Right.
Now that's human based stuff. But the putting it into food, what we don't know are, what's the half life of it? What is the life of it? What is the process by which it's going to transition from the animal's stomach or
Yeah,
bloodstream?
where are the long-term studies? Oh, there aren't any. It's
Exactly.
like it's
No,
insane.
we got to rush this thing out to market. And oh, by the way, we're turning the other cheek when it comes to your labeling. So I'm
Yeah,
sitting
and if
there and then go ahead.
yeah, and if you, I mean if you want more proof, right? Where's that next article? Oh, this one right here. Yeah, this one's it. Check this out. So here you have uh shrimp.
Yeah.
So
And as,
shrimp
as
have
we joke, is
become
nothing sacred?
yeah, yeah,
Nothing sacred.
nothing. Apparently, shrimp need to be genetically modified. I thought shrimp were like doing
Well, it's a
all
shrimp food.
right, you know,
It's
but it
yeah,
is a nutrient dense food. So, I mean, so it should be, you should definitely attack it and, genetically re engineer it so that if it does have any nutritional value, any sustenance, any high fat content,
get
we
rid of
really
that.
need to genetically remove that so that it's right up there with like pea protein soy kibble or whatever,
Yeah.
like everything else
Well,
they're
we're
doing.
we're seeing that they're coming after these articles, and there's a few others that we had. But what you see, the general trend, just jumping to it, is that they're not just going after people; they're going after the food we eat, um, and and not just shrimp or beef. It's beef, it's chicken, it's shrimp. Also, study out of UC Davis going through and figuring out how they can put Mr. Na into the lettuce and grow it in actual produce and be able
Yep.
to orally pass it on as a vaccination. Um, so that is it's questionable. I mean, I'm not saying I'm against. What I'm saying is we need more data. We need a heck of a lot more
Exactly.
data. And before we can just throw this on people, we need studies. We need to see what this new technology, technology is not good or bad. It's in the hands of the people that make it good or bad. And
That's right.
what we need to do here is understand this technology completely. Maybe this is the new thing and it's going to expand the health of humans everywhere, but if it's rushed out, it's going to end up hurting a lot of humans. And now we're seeing them push it into not just humans, but also into our food supply. And that is a problem for me. That's a hard no. And what we're seeing, like these articles are showing, is that they're going forward with this stuff
Yeah.
and it's coming. Um, and there's
Yeah.
already stuff in our food.
This article is about lettuce, that um, needs to be purified on a genetic level, and they're systematically attacking every level of our food infrastructure. They're attacking the water, and it's the bio sludge, like Mike Adams documentary about all this potting soil, this organic potting soil that people are buying, that they literally use water treatment waste. And
Yeah.
so they're literally taking, and it's so hilarious because people are like, you can't recycle your gray water. That's contaminated, but you can buy a bag of
Take your
potting
bio
soil
sludge. Yeah.
that's concentrated
Yeah.
bio sludge so that all of the contaminants in it are literally concentrated. It's not like watered down bio sludge.
Yeah.
It's
It's not diluted.
concentrated. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the
It's
things that we learned in building the habitat here at TD is, we had the anaerobic digester, and people have followed us, that was a really big part of the system, is to be able to take waste, organic waste, and recycle it back into its parts so that you can use it as fertilizer, as food for the plants and everything. And I always got the question, hey, can you use this instead of a septic tank? Can you use, and then be able to take the stuff off of it? And the answer is two parts. Is one is, in theory, yes. If you're eating a clean diet, if you're eating the way God intended you to, if it's actually easier to show the dirty side of it. It's like if you're on chemotherapy pills, and I lost my dad to chemo, so I'm not saying this in
mm,
jest. I mean, like,
mhm.
it goes through you, and you don't want to take that waste and put it on anything close to edible
Sure.
food in
Sure.
any form whatsoever. Now,
Yeah.
that's a very extreme example, but it's meant to highlight the point is that what comes out is what goes in.
Yeah.
Basic rules here. And if you start getting a lot of stuff that's coming in that's not natural, well, then last thing you want to do is put that on your food because it will transition over. How it
Yep.
transitions over, what transitions over, is it going to be in the same chemical format? I don't know. I haven't studied it, but you know it's going to transition over because those are the rules. You can't
Yeah.
get nothing from something, and your inputs create your outputs. So you
Yeah.
don't want all this stuff.
And there's no long-term track record. It's just like seed oils, in the last
Oh yeah,
100 years of this industrial age, we've become a continent that's raised on there isn't seed oils in it, it's fried in seed oils. It's all this trans fat like uh mechan it's this mechanized food system that
industrialized.
high
Yeah,
volume,
yep,
industrialized,
yeah,
that's the word I'm looking for. And nobody knows the long-term side effects. And so I'm telling you that the rise in obesity and the rise in uh, congenitive, congestive heart failure and all these different morbid
diabetes.
obesity,
Yep,
diabetes, strokes, cholesterol, aneurysms, all these different things, the we're the rats in the cage, we're the control
yeah,
group. And so we are watching the long-term side effects of seed oils and all these different contaminants and all these different genetic modifications that they're doing. We're watching the end result of this. And it's the same usual suspects, whether it's the US DUH or the FDA or whichever agency, they're all complicit. They're complicit in it. They facilitated in it. So that's why
yeah,
the solution is take control, right? The solution
yeah. You got to
is
start growing your own food.
grow your own food. And what kind of
Get local.
solutions, what kind of solutions do you guys offer, Jeff, at Eden Growth Systems?
Yeah, well, thanks for asking that. One of the key things we want to do is just wake people up to food sovereignty and being able to take back control of your food and knowing where it all comes from. And so that's why my business partner and I started our company, Eat and Grow Systems. And what we've developed is a indoor grow system that you can use without any. It's professional level stuff that we made easy for the consumer to use, and you can grow your food right where you're at, even if you're in the city. Because let's not forget that over 80% of the world's population is in an urban area, and they
Yeah.
don't have access to being able to grow their own food. And I, for one, am not ready to write them off. But I might be a lone wolf in some of those areas. Get out of the city now. I think a lot of people want to get out of the city but can't
Sure.
because that's where the
Yeah.
jobs are. That's where the
Yeah.
money's at. And so, what do we do for those folks? And we've got a solution that will help them grow their own food and encourages people to get back to the way things used to be. That is community, human community.
Yeah.
You and I have talked offline before about our faith and what we believe in. And there's just a huge movement right now that I call the anti-human movement, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is demonic, and
Absolutely.
it's
The
coming at
beast
us.
system.
Just
Yeah.
That's right, just like the Bible said, just like Jesus told us.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing is the attack on the human food system, which
Mm-hmm.
results in us becoming sick, right?
Yeah.
And then once we get sick, we become dependent on a man-made system,
Mm-hmm.
pharmakia.
Yeah.
The wow you with the pharmakia, and another biblical reference there. And
Yeah.
it's a vicious, good for business cycle. I'll put it that
Yeah.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Is by getting people sick, they can keep people on drugs. And
Yeah.
all the while it's ultimately, in my opinion, it's still our fault. Like, we're
Sure.
victims, yes, we're
Of course.
victims, but
Yeah.
ultimately we're making the decision, right? We want to be
Yeah.
comfortable, we want to have it easy, and you know what, I love ice
Yeah.
cream. Um but we were talking before, I've gotten the little continuous blood sugar monitor on me because I had one given to me from a friend, and I was curious about how my blood sugar is doing. I've had a hard time always in my life losing weight,
Mm-hmm.
specifically fat. I can put on muscle pretty easily, but losing
Mm-hmm.
fat has been hard. And I wanted to see what's happening with my blood sugar. And I put it on, and I was in fasted mode. I was doing intermittent fasting. I've been walking 4 miles a day, 2 in the morning, 2 at night, or I try to spread it out. and I was still having a hard time losing fat. I've cut back my alcohol a lot, and wine and wine and whiskey. Whiskey is really my that's my Achilles heel. I do enjoy a good whiskey. But anyway, so I put it on, and it's like it says you're pre-diabetic. I didn't even know what the numbers meant. I had to go look it up, and then I found out when I was looking it up is that the American Medical Association, or one of the associations, they actually increased the level of sugar
Yeah.
in your blood to say that this is healthy. It's
Hmm.
not.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not healthy at all. So I actually had to step down what they were saying and come up with something that made it more realistic. And what I've seen is that my blood sugar is just spiking the foods that I'm used to eating. And I don't eat a lot of carbs. And my wife is
Hmm.
really good about getting clean food. We grow a lot of our own food. We raise our own beef. So we have really high quality food, but
Hmm.
there's still sugar in it.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing that hit me. And then if I wasn't paying attention to this, if I didn't have this guy give this to me, I could go get a finger pricker and all that, but I
Sure.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
Um, and I would just keep on doing what I'm doing, and eventually I would have diabetes. I would be one of the victims of the system.
Yeah.
So my whole point is we have to take control of ourselves. We have to stand
Yeah.
up and say, you know what? I might like whiskey, but I need to take care of the temple. And that's what God's
Yeah.
charge to us.
Yeah.
And we're not a lot of us, and I say this, I mean, the numbers don't lie. A lot of us, a majority of us aren't taking care of that temple, and we're
Yeah.
trading in our comforts for freedom. So, and what I
Yeah.
mean by that is, hey, do something, give me what I want so I'm comfortable, and here's my freedom in exchange.
Hmm. And
And
sick and tired people are very easily controllable. That's another reason why they
absolutely.
want us sick and tired. They want us on prescription. They want us
Yep.
on health on prescription, but they want us sick and tired. They want us, with the pharmakia, they want us in a haze because then that's our soma to keep us
Yeah.
docile. And then
Yeah.
we consume the bread and circuses, and then the
Yep.
bread,
It's
spikes our
making you
insulin.
sick.
Then we go into
Yep.
a diabetic coma. But
Yep.
that's why I'm going to convince you to convert to carnivore. And then
Yeah.
that's going to resolve your blood sugar issues. And you're going to be like, wow, why didn't I do this sooner? Like,
Well,
you know, I
yeah.
before I eat, yeah, before I even had the roto rooter on my shoulder, I had people recommending carnivore, and I was thinking about that, with the getting it cleaned out and the bicep tendinosis. I'm like, I wonder if that was avoidable. I don't know if it was. I mean, my shoulders was in really bad shape. The quote was, "It's the worst shoulder I've ever seen," and that was from an orthopedic surgeon that does like I forget how many surgeries a week,
Yeah.
exclusively shoulders. But yeah, so but yeah,
Now, the old sayings, I think we got to write a book that says why the old sayings matter or something like that, because the old sayings, they're old sayings for a reason. You are what you eat. And the food that we bring into our bodies, when it's filled with nutrition, amazing things happen, like your story with
yeah,
your shoulder and healing that you're having, or fixing diabetes, or fixing the gut. My
hmm,
wife has gut issues, and studying
yeah,
all those kind of things and learning. But it's all about our inputs. There are
yeah,
environmental factors, but the
sure,
large overwhelming evidence is that the inputs that go in here and pass on through, that's what really makes a difference. You did pique my curiosity. I've been kind of following you off and on with carnivore, and we're talking about an update, and sounds like things are going really, really well. Now we have eggs. Like, I love eating eggs, so I
that's
think I got
carnivore, man.
breakfast figured out. Yep.
Hmm.
And I could, even if I do intermittent fasting, I can have my eggs for lunch, and then it's just a
Yep,
matter of how do I break the steak, pork chop, or chicken and potato problem, because I
yeah.
love a potato with butter on it.
Well,
So I gotta, like, what do you
well
do?
the butters coat is good. I eat once a day right now. So I get up, I'll drink a black coffee. I go work, do my thing. I come home by 4 or 5, and that's when I'll have my coffee with eggs and tallow, and then I'll have my main entree of beef. Usually, today it was pot roast, and it was incredible. But
Hmm.
so I'm eating once a day. I'll then sleep incredible and feel great, and it's a game changer. I challenge everybody, just do it for 30 days. One, it not only will it not kill you if you do it for 30 days, there's a very good chance that within 30 days, you're going to start to feel amazing. And then it becomes this self-regulating thing where like, yeah, I just want to keep doing this because I feel so much better.
Yeah.
And there doesn't have to be a lot of, yeah, but how, like, how does this work? And how do you, I mean, I don't really care how it works.
Sometimes you got to run before you walk. Yeah.
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 And,
Yeah. You just got to get into it.
let's pause real quick, for a sponsor, because this video is sponsored. Hold on a second. So if you're interested in private family banking, you'll find Chuck's link below for his ebook. Click down there. You can request that ebook for free. And we appreciate Chuck and his family and thank him for sponsoring today's video. Yeah. So
don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you get notified of all the Texas Boys new videos and they come out, and make sure you join them on Rumble as well.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, because we're definitely in the shadowy bands of whatever. Because the last couple of videos have definitely suffered, but we always like to punch through shadow bands, so we'll do it again. That's all.
We're trying to do the same thing here, Eden. You know, we have the same thing on The Real Martian. As you and I were talking earlier, is, you know, I've been doing videos since Wrangler Star launched us, following our story and our mission. You know, you can go check us out and know that we're not full of it. You know, we've been living this life for a while now and trying to do this thing.
Legit, y'all.
And we're definitely banned as well. I spoke about my faith. I came right out and said Jesus Christ, and ever since then, whammo, you know, really been hit hard. And what we're doing right now,
and you're bringing solutions. Yeah, you're bringing solutions too. And you know, so when you combine those two things, you know,
we're bringing solutions that are what I call the David versus Goliath, right? And I'll describe this real fast. Is the Goliath that we're facing is a system that wants to control everything from seed to poop, right? And everything that happens in between, they want to control all that and be able to charge you every step of the way. That's why we're seeing the GMOs and the seeds and everything. Exactly. It's all about monetizing everything. It's why they're, and you can get into a whole thing just on that. But what we're trying to do is teach you how to fish. We have to build a fishing pole. I need to run a company. I've got to make money just like everybody else. You know, I know a lot of people get turned away when you say the truth, but it is the truth, and we all know it's the truth.
Yeah.
We got to make money. We got to have sponsors. It's just the way it works, you know. But in the company that we started, Eden, our goal is a triple bottom line. We're here because God told us to come help feed his people. You don't believe me? You can go back and see the very first time I shared that with the whole world, where I'm sitting at dinner and I'm praying and I'm like, and Lord, please help those obtain food or not have any. And then I felt him go whack. And he's like, dude, you're an aerospace engineer. You've got money. Why don't you go do something about it instead of just complaining? And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I should. So we did. My wife and I, we prayed about it. We talked to our pastor as well. We talked to our family, and we're like, let's do this. So we went all in, and now we're here, and we're fighting this Goliath. And little David here, we don't have procurement money like what these big companies do. So our products are made in America and they cost more. And people hate that because they're like, oh, it's so expensive. I'm like, do you know how hard it is to run a startup in today's world when you're competing against slave labor in China? You know, and I got nothing against the Chinese people, man. You know, they're taken advantage of by their government. But it's still, that's what we're all used to. We're used to the $10 bras at Walmart, you know, and it costs $200 to make up that same thing in America.
Yeah.
Well, so we're doing a regulated crowdfund right now where we're trying, I ask people to do one of three things for us. They can pray for us. They can share the message of what we're trying to do. I've been doing a lot more YouTube lately, and Rumble and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. And then the last thing you can do is they can go to www.eatinggrowsystems.com/regcf. That's Romeo Echo Golf Charlie Foxtrot. And pledge. You don't even have to do any money right now, but it's a pledge, and it's a crowdfund, not like Kickstarter and not like GoFundMe, where you like, hey, here's my money, good luck, and then maybe you get like a little trinket and trash back. Our crowdfund is actually going to give you an SEC approved, background check, completely verified equity stake in our company. So when you pledge for us and you help us, what you're giving us is the ability to raise the money. We're trying to raise $1.2 million, which would give me the runway so that I can pay my people. I can do marketing, so I can, get out there, because right now the algorithm is pushing us down, because we're talking about a message of freedom and sovereignty, and they want a control, right? They want to control the stack. We're sitting there and we're busting through that, and we're having a hard time because it's so controlled. So I'd love to build an army of people who just help us on social media, no money required, just see our message and hit the share button to at least one person. And not the thumbs up. Thumbs up is great, but what we need is share. We need super individual, sharing going on. And we need that so we can be the David fighting the Goliath. It's about the people. Eden represents people taking control over their food. There's a lot of other people out there that are doing stuff like us, or are doing other things, like even just spreading the news, like what you guys are doing. And we all play a part. We're all a body of this solution. And for our part of it, we're trying to yell and scream like all the people in the city need help. They need to be growing their own food. And we're here to help those folks out. So I'd appreciate you even letting me come on.
Yeah, it's the parallel economy, the parallel society. And what we're going to do is I want to get on your calendar, and we'll have you on the Fearless podcast and it's much more longer form, and you can tell your whole story from beginning to end. And I think that would be a great episode. So let's line that out, and that'll be a lot of fun. And I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate what you're doing. You're providing solutions, and the biggest challenge that we face as a society are people in these cities, and what solutions can we provide them? And you've packaged an American-made product that will meet some of those needs. And, that's somebody that's solving problems instead of complaining about it. So that is awesome. And obviously we commend you for that. And appreciate your time today, and appreciate all y'all for watching. We love and appreciate our customers and our subscribers. Thank you so much for your loyalty, and please do like, share, subscribe. Check Jeff out at all of his social media platforms. Let's help get his message out there, and together we can succeed. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see y'all in the next video.
Take care.